Hello, people! Wake up! It's Thursday! Oh my gosh, more coffee, please, for sure. Welcome to Level Up Circle TV show, guys. We are on Amazon Fire TV, Apple iOS, Roku channel, right? Google Play, and everywhere else. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube as well, including my TV network and my network, and everybody's network was in here. CJ, I got asked this morning, what is the point of having a TV and a live stream? Like, I thought they're the same. It's the platform dissemination, it's the messaging, right? Imagine if you thought someone was watching you, but no one's really watching you. How are your messages going on? It's not, right? It doesn't go anywhere because you're on your own. But collaboration over competition is the key to disseminate your information everywhere. The way you ask, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate, the way you carry yourself. And if you lie, right, you're going to have to keep up with that lie because people will see right through you. So, my dear sister Susanna always tells you be authentic, be yourself. And that is what we are going to be talking about today, belonging. We're going to continue the conversation from the Tuesday show that Susanna was talking about to this conversation because it's super important. And you know what? I've heard it again today, this morning, about how important belonging is on another audio room. So you know that belonging is important. But I want to know why, right? Like, why is it important to you? What does it do for you to really belong? Because let me tell you, I've been in some other communities and I thought like I belong to that community, but man, the gossip was like oozing. CJ's doing this and CJ's doing this. I was like, girls, you're supposed to collaborate with me. Then at that point, it's just so tiring and exhausting to carry the conversation in a negative light. But we want to find out from each and individual who's here today. What does belonging, what the word belonging, what does that mean to you? And remember, guys, we're gonna debut our stories, right? In an ebook form on December 6th. Put this in your calendar. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. Write it down right now. Put it on your iPhone, put it on your Google, put it on your Samsung, whatever. December 6th is gonna come out. December 14th, you'll have the opportunity to have the physical book. And you're like, why should we get this book? There's so many anthologies out there. Hello, 8 billion people. You know that personal growth is not like just, oh, I'm just gonna have personal growth this week and I'm not gonna have personal growth next week. That doesn't work. It's a lifestyle. It's like exercising. I have always wanted to go back to my pre-baby body, but I keep asking for that, but my lazy ass doesn't go to the gym. So guess what? It's just a pipe dream for me at this point until I commit to make it what? Part of my lifestyle, right? So personal growth should be part of your lifestyle. And so Wednesdays are usually live stream. That means it goes to a limited distribution channel, right? Mostly in YouTube. Second largest social media in the world is YouTube. Facebook is still number one, guys. Okay. And number one social, not social media in terms of like just social media, but number one professional platform is on LinkedIn. Hence, that's why our Wednesday shows are always on LinkedIn. But Thursdays and Sundays are for my special peeps. And I call them special peeps because their messaging goes not only to those live stream, but it goes to all of this platform. All right. So I'm going to stop talking now because I want this conversation to move forward. But first things first, I want to make sure that you guys know, my dear sis, look at that smile. Oh, isn't she so cute? So Santa Dawn Writer has a lot of services. We're moving and shaking next year. We're actually giving you a preliminary kind of a look-see-loo on the classes and courses we're going to provide at Level Up Academy for personal growth. This is a soft skills, but I might be teaching you hard skills on prompt engineering as well. And then, of course, my brother Mike has a business community. Like him, hate him, he is a redneck financial coach. I'm just saying, okay? That is how we roll. We go with communities. Another thing is for Black Friday, I'm doing this 50% off for Mike to Million. So the books, you can get it until maybe 2 weeks from now, and I'll put it back up. But right now it is on sale because I want it to be in hands and people's who have messaging out there but don't know how to start their podcast. We have a free membership as well that we meet on Zoom. We actually have a meeting on November 12th, my Bella's birthday. It's at 10, I believe, because Susanna has a show at 9. 10 a.m. PST. Guys, this is our book coming out. Are you excited? I'm going to put all the authors in right now, but this is the cover, right, that we are having. It's called Against the Grain, Finding Belonging in a World of Resistance. Look, I'm in Christmas. Ah! Okay, wait. Hold on. It's not the same without my pink lights. Come on, right? Come on. Sister, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome
You're
to
like
another
doing
funny
something.
Thursday.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to talk to our co-authors, and I'm really glad and happy and satisfied that some people that we've seen doing anthologies as a way of collaborating, some of them have fallen apart. And I just want you to know that I'm grateful for our friendship, our business partnership, and that we are both professionals and we focus on the project, not on the people, right?
Oh yeah, that's the only way to do it. I mean, I, we've had our share, and it's always focused on the project, doing the best. And even with the authors, because we never try to discriminate anything. We help everybody the same and do everything we can to make sure that what they put out is their best writing.
Yeah, and we don't pick one for them, but also I think some people are also having a hard time on their topic, and that's why we're gonna bring in Agape and Miguel. Hi guys. Three
Hi.
people are from the West Coast, and Miguel is from New York. He's in Manhattan, right? So we are going to actually, both of you are not new to my network, so you don't need to introduce yourself, but I do want Agape to talk about a little bit about your book and what does Against the Grain means to you, and belonging. What does that mean to you, Agape?
Yeah, I mean, this is really deep. We have known each other for a little while. You're about to get to know me very well right now. So, belonging to me runs very deep because as a very little girl, my mother left when I was 3 years old, and my sister passed away when I was 3 years old. So, I did not feel like I had belonging for, I would say, from that moment on. And that's because the way that my father coped with all of that was he worked third shift and slept all day. So that means that I was left to basically fend for myself since childhood. And, everything I learned was outside of my home. And thank goodness there were so many different doors and homes that invited me in, and I was exposed to so many different communities, ethnicities, languages, religions, backgrounds. And it was probably up until my teenage years when I started to really, really gravitate towards where I felt I belonged. And I took you through that glimpse of a journey because it really is needing to go out there and put everything almost into that like sifter, like sand at the beach. You put all these things, you expose yourself to all these things, and you just keep sifting and sifting through until you find where those gems are, what you are really feeling connected to. And what I look like, how I present myself versus la forma que yo habla, la cosa que yo hago is very, very deceiving. And so it's like, whatever I connect with is what I believe I am. And talk about going against the grain. I mean, imagine what I just shared and then putting that into a box in corporate America, having to deal with, a lot of setbacks because of the way that I talk, or because of, the accent that I carry, or, because of the way I, respectfully confront. There's so much that we go through when we are dealing with, mental and emotional things that we're sorting through as individuals, and still need to put on that mask and show up and level up and get through and navigate the different challenges. So I don't have a title yet. I just know that I'm really talking about, that inner strength and the ability to intercept your negative inner critic, because there's enough people out there doing that. You don't have to do that to yourself. You can intercept that and become your cheerleader, and be focused on the right thing for the right reasons and doing the right thing, because that's the best thing to do with integrity. Okay, I'm done.
No, I love that because it kind of give you a glimpse of it's the same thing when I keep putting it in my head, like it's just reverberating so loudly, like you're turning your pain into purpose, literally, right? It's against the grain for sure, but now we're gonna talk about belonging in a minute. But so when you were talking, you're like, I don't have a title, but I'm like really listening and thinking, what would be a good title for that? And everybody who's on my journey, my sister Susanna can tell you that I'm really good with titles. I feel like the title for what you're saying is like silencing the saboteur, how to intercept and transform your inner critic.
Well, yeah, and you already know, confronting domestic violence, the nonprofit organization, is founded from surviving a double attempted homicide as an adult after all that survival through childhood. So it's like, post traumatic
So
growth is real.
that's the vibe. And when you said that right now, I'm like, ooh, breaking the cycle, confronting and conquering your inner critic. Like it's in there, because of the title, but that is the title that's coming up for me. Now, Miguel, this is your second cycle with us. Thank you so much for trusting Level Up to level you up, right? Let's talk about
Of
what
course.
your thoughts on this book for Against the Grain and Finding Belonging. What are some of the nitty gritty that we can see and expect?
It's important because belonging, it ties into identity. And when you're born without guidance, then where are you going to get, you need that backboard, where you can bounce your ideas and your conversations and your personality. And that's important to one's self development, particularly when they're trying to place themselves in the world. And going against the grain, particularly just by you existing, you're going against the grain in so many dimensions and so many social realms. And it's important to also learn from other people's experiences. If you don't have that guidance, that hand on the back, that encouragement, I don't look like someone who would have a 3.9 GPA. I don't speak as someone who is from the neighborhood I'm from. And that affects society and my belonging in that realm. And then that drives seeking places. Where can I place myself? Maybe where I be a little bit more comfortable in order to take off that mask. And that is self love and self preservation. We are social animals, we are social beings. And then so when you get to the point of where you're okay with who you are and yourself, then you pivot into, okay, I'm comfortable now where I'm at. Now, what can I do outside of myself? And I think that's where the importance is. And then that's where going beyond just existing and going against the grain is like, okay, now I want to change the world. I know where I'm at. How can I do this now?
I want to know because I got to know you that I didn't even know about you when you wrote your chapter, and I was really. It seems like it's a privilege, right, to really like get to know you in that capacity. Um, and now I want to know what's next for Miguel. Like I want to read what is on there, and so it's exciting. Um, I I'm from what you're seeing, like I'm feeling like this is more of like uncharted paths. That's the title that's coming out for me for you, like finding belonging in a world without guidance. That's literally the first thing that you said, right? Like growing up and seeking this journey, like no one guides you. I'm like, ooh, uncharted paths, right? Like finding belonging in a world without guidance. How do you guide yourself when the streets is the one that's guiding you? How are you supposed to know what's right and wrong? Oops, I did it again. Oops, I hit the rock again. That's literally life for us, right? Because we don't have guidance. But I have to say that I grew up without mom and dad, but I had a lot of rules and strict guidance. And I think by the grace of God, God gave me something different that is when I was little, I was looked at as defiant, out of control, right? Like she's just needing to be like leash because she's just crazy, like almost like rabid because I say no to everything that they say. And I always ask the question, but why? And let me just tell you that I'm eating all of that because I pass that genes on to my kids and I'm suffering. I'm like, man, I'm insufferable when I was young. I'm getting it two times. Oh my gosh, life is funny. I have to laugh about it, even though stressed. I have gray hair underneath here. It's just, but and then I see like, well, look at you, CJ. People tell you you're dumb. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. And when you're going to a public school, you're no longer gonna be smart because private school was the smart way to go. Like everything that people tell me and dump their own insecurities and everything else dumped on me because I had no boundaries. I had nobody to protect me, right? And I took it. I took it for a while until I said, why? That's my own question. Why do I have to take your crap? That is you to keep. Bye. So I've always been like that. And I love a challenge. When someone tells me I can't do it, I don't respond, I don't react. I just said, interesting. And then the next day, as soon as we hang up, I'm like, what do you mean I can't do it? Let me see. Oh, I'm so busy. And then the next day, I'm like, watch this. Because 6 months later, watch me, right? And I love that challenge. So thank you, Miguel, for sharing that. And what does a 3.9 GPA student look like anyway? Okay. Here's a fun part. Susana, we're gonna go to you. So I want to go to Agape, Miguel, and then Susana on telling me, what do you think my GPA was?
Was it 4.0?
4.0. How about you, Miguel?
I think I heard you mention it one time. So it was 4.1 or 4.4.
How about Susana? She's my sister. Let's see if she pays attention.
I pay attention. I know the story, dear. It's just like, and I'm pretty sure it was like a 4.4 or something. All I know is you slam dunked.
Yeah. Because I came here, I didn't know how to speak English, but I graduated junior year, and yes, I was above 4.4. I was at 4.5, 4.6, averaging DC chain, right? But what does that look like? What is that supposed to look like? Like, what is supposed to? And here's the thing: growing up here, even in San Diego, you can't be pretty and smart. You can't be smart and pretty, right? I was always told it's not possible. Literally, another classmates told me, because I dress up cute even when I had a baby, I will not let anyone. And if a man says something, I get snippy. I get very snippy, and I will not let it go. And we had a party at my house, and he's like, when I met your wife, I thought she was just pretty and nothing up here, like just nothing, because she was like all pink out, everything
Wow.
pink about her, even my car. And then she put me on my place without even saying anything when she presented, and then she questioned my thesis, and then I couldn't answer her. And this was the chief of something in the Navy. And that's when I wanted mad respect and wanted to follow whatever she says. And I never said no after that. And my husband's like, yeah, she has a way. You can't really say no to her, but if she doesn't like you, it's going to be very hard for you in class. That's what he said. And I was like, am I doing? It's because it's a personality. And each and every one of you guys here right now have that. Now, dear sister Susanna, a lot of people already see us together in terms of like talking about belonging. What is going to be your story that you're going to put out there for this one?
I'm still working on that because I'm gonna kind of do a 2-part deal. It's gonna have my story, and again, you know this. I am really thinking about how I will talk about my story now, because I don't discuss certain things anymore. I'm pretty much done with that, because it's the boxes. And when I think about what I want to put in here, belonging is that ability to be your authentic self without the need to hide behind a mask. So masks are going to be a part of it. The boxes are definitely a part of it, because I spent a freaking half century in boxes, trying to be what everybody said, wearing a mask the whole time, because you can't let people know that you aren't what they tell you are. And now it's, quite frankly, I'm kind of reevaluating it a little bit, because I feel like it is more important now, today specifically, than it was even last week, for people to be able to be their authentic self, to drop the masks and not let others bully them into a box, into a position, into something that they're not. Because the true bottom line, the only people in this world who know who we are at our authentic core is us and our creator. And what a lot of people don't seem to get is we are created for a purpose, and you can't be looking at what somebody's doing, what their shell is, what their intelligence is, and all this stuff, and try and say this is what you are, when those can be misleading. So how do we get people to understand that this is, stop trying to tell people who and what they are, because you're probably wrong.
Yeah, I think we like to stereotype and pigeonhole people,
Oh,
right?
that's the way this whole world has been.
Yeah. And so we're always fighting against that stereotype, that pigeonhole, like, oh, you're whatever, right? And that's why I wear contact lens, I wear different hair, because I also test. I've been testing a lot in my community. When I work, I go in just really looking like someone just run me over. Like, I had no makeup, my dark circle is up, no concealer. I haven't even brushed my teeth, put my hair up, and I go to 7-Eleven, and the treatment is just different, right? But then when I come in and I look cute, and they're like, oh, hi, how did you know? And it's so sad that we are judged based on the way we look, not knowing who you are inside and what you are capable of helping the community. And I think it's super important that we talked about that in our stories, because this is the legacy and impact that we're creating. And I'm so happy and more resolute that we're doing this, because we could die next week. Not before our book, after our book. Right, we could die and leave that legacy, and people goes, wow, I didn't know that my great grandma Agape went through this. And I didn't know that she had created an organization to help others and her community. I didn't know that she went through this specific moment of her life, because no one writes our biography better than us, right? No one does better. They can speculate, they can judge, they can think, oh, this is what I've seen. We're going to do research on this. No one writes stories about your own experiences better than you can. So I'm so glad that we're doing this. For me, I think my chapter is going to be resilient belonging. My journey. That's how I'm thinking of that. I don't know how I'm going to thread all my stories, because I want to have little stories um, to kind of thread into that, because I have always lived against the grain. I was supposed to die so many times already, even when I was a baby. Right, my mom's family wanted to. They literally kicked her stomach and kicked her off, and she fell on stairs, right? Because they wanted to get rid of me. I was strong. I was like, I'm hanging on to this ovary. You cannot take me out. Like, literally, I think I had that attitude even when I was a fetus, right? And I fell when I was 52 stairs. And that's why I have a little bit of dent on my head. Um, and I'm still here. I had cancer. I'm still here. I had car accidents. I'm still here. What does that mean? You need to listen. What are you supposed to do with your life? You think you own your life? You really don't. You're a shepherd of your own life. You are put on this earth for a purpose. Stop fooling around. Be still. Be silent. Review your life. Right now, we're at the end of 2024, right? And the world has gone bananas. But how does that really affect you? Why do we let outside crap affect us and the way we live? Other than our pocketbook, it's depleting because everything is inflated. How does that really affect if somebody else is this and that and this and that? Who cares? If it doesn't affect you personally right now, stop carrying the world's burden. It is not for you to carry. It is for you to listen and to learn what not to do and what to do with your own life. That is what I want to write about. I don't know how, but I will. So back to agape. What does belonging mean to you? Because I know you belong and you know a lot of people in this industry that you're trying to create, right? The nonprofit. But where do you feel most comfortable around with?
Around with, I think it's more about the topic of that allows me to feel confident and comfortable in any setting because unfortunately domestic violence, the statistics are real. It's, one out of, three women, one out of four men. And if it's not you, you know someone. And so it is a very, heartbreaking thing to see and go through. And when that is a sensitive topic that can be openly discussed in today's, world, society, even though it's still somewhat of a social stigma, it's not going to come up unless someone brings it up. That is where, I feel like I have so much wisdom and knowledge to share, as well as resources, because I've turned what you said earlier, that pain into passion and helping people. And it always goes back to that post-traumatic growth, because we've all experienced some form of trauma at some point, whether it's domestic violence or not. And it's your coping skills, your thought processes. It goes back to that inner critic and that self-sabotaging belief system that we can create, because as human beings, when we go through devastation, that is a defining moment in our life, and we're the ones that's defining it. So when we know that you have an opportunity to actually like go back and redefine that, because maybe you did not do the right defining because of that emotional state that you were in, but now that you're wiser and you've grown through that pain, you can redefine that so that it is not a negative or, continuous heart-wrenching thing. It is now like an empowering thing. It's something that you're sharing. It's something that you're, disseminating to help others. And that's where, as you can tell, I fell right into it. I felt very comfortable right now talking about it. This is where I'm at in any setting, and again, it doesn't matter, the color, the religion, the culture, there's none of that. Those things that I'm referring to doesn't discriminate. It doesn't pick people that have, deeper pockets or high titles or, whatever. It's blind. It's everybody.
You're muted. You're muted, sis.
Cheerios growling at me. How about you, Miguel? How do you find belonging right now? I hope that you find belonging in our community, right? That you feel yourself and you don't have to be somebody else to feel like yourself. But how do you find belonging? Because sometimes I belong to a lot of groups, actually, a lot of communities. Um, and some communities move and some communities don't. What I look for in a community is um, people who are consistently showing up for others, but not necessarily like you have to support every single week. Sometimes that can be draining. But it could be like outside where you text each other or you're just checking in, right? True friendship, right? Like I quote friendship is because that word means to me differently than to other people. Friendship to other people is more of an acquaintance, like hi, bye, right? When I truly care about you and I text you, that to me, that's true friendship. Like we're checking up on each other and there's no money involved, there's no intentions, literally just checking up on people, right? That's how I see true friendship. And Miguel and I, we met in academic settings and I felt bad, so I reached out to Miguel and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you, and he took it. And I think that the trust has sometimes had to be built from you, not from the other people, by just extending and being kind, right? So Miguel, how do you find belonging in this world that is resisting all the time?
Well, now I'm finding belonging in your community, and it's at a point where I've transitioning once again into becoming a professional, a business owner, and I have no one to help me other than me. And then so I reached the point where, yeah, I had to reach out. And that asking for help, recognizing that you need help, and then reaching out and asking for the help, that's vulnerability. And then if you have pre-existing traumas, and then as Agape said, and you're dealing with corporate bigwigs and talking about contracts and talking about all these kinds of things, and no one knows your history, but they're just once again, oh, he looks this kind of way. Oh, he's from Harlem. Oh, and all these things, and then receiving flack and resistance in that. I didn't feel that way in your community at all, and I appreciate it, and I'm running with it, because I have the aptitude to recognize that and acknowledge that, okay, that these people are sincere, these people are welcoming, and they're not deterred by what I say. It's being welcomed. For an example, like in school, like I was sharing of myself. Someone came up to me, were like, thank you for sharing of yourself. I'm proud of you. And then it was someone who looked just like me. And then I told them, I wanted to die. I used to want to die. And they just looked at me and was like, wow, and how could, like, and it just boldly came out. How can someone say that? Well, because I'm at a point where I'm comfortable with myself in order to share that. I'm in this space where I'm comfortable with my peers where I can say that. And that's having impact, just being your authentic self. And yeah, people gravitate to me. And I think that gives me a lot of resistance in this world as well, because people are like, well, who does he think he is? I walk into the room, everyone's like, hey, Miguel, how are you? And they kind of want that energy for themselves. They want that attention for themselves. But that's innate, and it's natural, and it's genuine, and it's authentic. You can't command that. You can't demand that. And yeah, and then so I got a lot of resistance just for being myself, and that's going against the grain. And at this point, I don't care.
I love it. Here's the thing. I am so privileged that you felt comfortable enough to share what you shared, right? Because I mean, you took us to the shower, Miguel, on on your story. I was like, "Who? Where's this going?" Like, you know what I mean, like, yeah. And I was like, "Okay, should we delete?" I think this is fine, you know. And there was a point. I was like, "Okay, we got it. We're back on track, right?" Like, um, and I love that because you understood the assignment. You're not going to go against the rules of engagement in terms of being professional, but yet you took us on the edge of how at the moment you were feeling when you have so much rejection, but when you just like, you know what, enough is enough. And you're right. It is innate, right? You can't possibly bottle energy when people are like that. But here's the thing, people will gravitate to people who have energy. It's just the way it is. It's an energy thing, right? And then people will hate you for no reason other than because you have that energy. But if you are so comfortable and own your own space, that is the mental capacity and the mindset that they're just going to hate you for who you are, I actually turn up my volume more when I see those faces. I listen, you're not going to make me uncomfortable, so you're going to be uncomfortable. Watch me, let's go. Like I will challenge you. When you make me uncomfortable in that room, my brain goes 30,000, like there's six people I bring in my room in my head. How can I make this person realize that I'm not doing anything? And if you're going to play this game, I will make sure before I leave in this room, you will be uncomfortable for even trying to make me feel uncomfortable. I didn't do nothing to you, but watch me. And I will turn up that volume a little bit. I get even louder. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? They looked at me like, how are you doing, CJ? Good, how are you doing? They're like, oh, I love the energy. I'm like, hey, let's go to Instagram pictures, right? Like, that's just who I am. I don't pretend to be, right? That's my energy. But people are watching and I see who's uncomfortable and who's not. And I actually feel bad for those people. So I approach them myself first because they're not going to approach me. They're already uncomfortable. They're not going to approach me. So I say, how are you doing today? I want to give that energy and hope and encouragement because they too might be rejected from people who might be just like me, right? But I'm not the same as those people. So I want them to know that there is a differentiation between each person who have energy because I've seen salespeople sometimes, no crap flack and salespeople, but some salespeople sometimes come in like they know everything and the arrogance just fill the room. That's not me. My feet is on the ground. I am definitely wanting to be in your level, but don't judge me based on my energy as the same as other people because I am not. And I will call you out on it if you make me super uncomfortable about it. I mean, I won't be loud in front of people. I'll pull you aside like, hey, is there something wrong? Like, are you okay? But thank you for saying that, Miguel. So Sana, and then I'm going to go to Agape. What does belonging means to you? I know you and I are very comfortable with each other, but now we have our own core, but also we want to expand our friendship and belonging to others, but we're very careful because we've been hit so many times of fake people, right? So
Right.
how do we create that, sister? How do we make sure that we can be in there?
Well, the belonging is, like I said before, the being in a space that you can be your authentic self. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to tell everybody what was behind the mask, because that's not a requirement. You just have to feel safe. You're a different person when you take off the mask, whether you talk about what was behind it or not. You're different than if you've got the mask on. You can't engage fully with people because you're always walking on eggshells. You're always worried about what are they going to do next? What are they going to say next? And that's not a space of belonging if you're worried about what other people think, just like you were talking about before. When you can go in, be yourself, if that means you're going to be quiet, people let you be quiet, but they'll still come up to you. They won't ignore you. If you're going to be boisterous, then people accept you for that and know that you might be the type that's going to go find them, or some of them you'll be able to find a way, even if you're boisterous, to let them approach you so that everybody feels safe in that space. So it's not, feeling safe and having belonging is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. You have to feel safe. They have to feel safe. There's no judgment. That's probably one of the key points. No judgment in that space. So that if whatever it was that was behind the mask slips, because sometimes we spend so much energy trying to keep it hidden. And if somebody finds out, no judgment means they're not going to come and lord it over you. No judgment means if they come up to you and say, I heard this about you, and you don't want to talk about it, you can basically say, well, whether it's true or not, it's not really any of your business. It's not of your concern. Actually is better than business. So that you're safe to say, I need this boundary. I'm not going to talk about this. That's part of belonging. That's part of that space that you can feel safe and be yourself and let others be themselves and agree to disagree when it happens, because we can't agree on everything 100%. It doesn't exist. So you have to know when to shut up and and when to speak. That's not holding you back. That is creating space of belonging. Because if you think about it, some of the things that you might want to say, they're not belonging comments. They're going to be meant to dig at somebody, to pound at somebody. So know when to stay quiet, know when to minion talk. Exactly. And know when to speak up and say, this is wrong, this is right, I support, but be there for each other.
It's important to also add culture to that, because a lot of community cultures that I belong to, and especially the Asian community, we go by hierarchy. So the older the if the oldest or whatever speaks, we have to bow down whether we like it or not. That's just a cultural thing. Except CJ has issues. Anyway, it's because sometimes, the culture is some of the cultural values are toxic, right? Like, shut up, put up, and deal with it kind of thing. And I have a lot of war in my own self. Like, you have no idea, you don't want to be me. I have a lot of things in my head and quietness. I was talking to my husband, if I take medicine for my ADHD, I wouldn't know what to do with myself, because I'm so used to having five advisors in my head. And if you shut those five and it's only me, I don't know who me is in by myself, because my head is always busy thinking. So I don't know what that means, right? And I don't know if I would be comfortable in that space, or because I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. Yes, there are a lot of hardships and things like that, but I managed to control where I need to be. And so it's really hard for me to say, like, oh, maybe you should just take the medicine, CJ, and deal with it. I don't know. I don't know what that feels like. There's a lot of turmoil in my head. But my creative side, would I lose that? My structure side, would I lose that? By how much? How does that affect me? And how does that affect my relationship with you guys? Right. And so I don't know. I'm having a lot of issues in that conversation right now, because sometimes, like, I think as I got older, my ADHD sometimes is harder to control. So my husband's like, maybe you should take medicine, but I'm like, well, from the people that told me medicine stopped some of those conversations, I don't know how to deal with that. Maybe I will try it when I no longer am teaching. And so that way I feel like that's my superpower of teaching, because I literally can have conversations on any industry: healthcare, IT, ChatGPT, engineering, NASA, science, video games, art, music. Like, I can talk to all of those at some level and some capacity. But if I shut myself down, I'm like, I don't know how to react. How would I react? Right. So I'm literally scared about that. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a conversation that I have to tell myself, and I really lay it down. Agape, how about you in terms of belonging? And then we're gonna end this conversation with your favorite quote. So Miguel and Susana, think about those favorite quotes. Agape, go ahead.
hmm yes, I just kind of wanted to tie everything in a beautiful bow that all of us has spoken on. I mean, first and foremost, that energy, right? I mean, you and I met less than 60 days ago, and there was this energy that we just immediately felt when we sat down, because we were in each other's space. And with that energy, I felt this like dance of respect, because we were trying to feel each other out, because we're both high energy, and we're like, we've been told to tame it down a little bit. And it's very hard for people like us to do that. And that's me without caffeine all the time. No caffeine for me. And so, what Susanna was saying earlier as it relates to feeling safe, right? I think that's where, that dance comes in and that safety net comes in. And it was almost like within 7 days, you were invited to a board meeting and you were voted in. Like, that has never happened in our organization at all, where like Johnny on the spot, that happens. And then from there, you're supporting the gala, you're inviting me to these things, I'm inviting people in. It's this big reciprocation. And then there's that connection, because because that energy, that respect, and that belonging just all fit in. And I think that when we have gone through so much in life, we know when it's real. And sometimes, yeah, we can be duped and all that. But you know what? Shame on us one time or shame on them one time. After that, there's no more times, you know? And so I just want to let you know that thank you for, making this space, safe for me, for this authentic connection that we share with, the belonging that you're inviting me to with everyone on your platform and in this book here. And the level of energy is just fantastic. And the respect is phenomenal. I'd rather be respected than loved any day. Thank you.
I love it. What's your favorite quote?
Ooh, you can move a million times, but you live in your head. So unclutter that.
I love it. How about you, Miguel? What's your favorite quote?
I'm quoting Psalms 44, and blessed is that man who makes the Lord his trust. I delight to do your will, O my God, and your law is within my heart.
I love that. I
Me
like Psalm.
too.
Psalm is literally the answer for everything for me. I like that. I have little mom Bibles. I actually where was my book? I had a book for mantras. It's like I need mantras today. I feel like the energy is a little bit shifting for me today. So I was like, man, I need mantras today, right? So thank you for that, Miguel. I appreciate you. How about you, Sister Susanna?
I got one that I just came up with after talking, and it's true awareness is seeing the beauty of others no matter how they look.
Mm, yeah, that's true. That's true. And you can always tell me, like, you're not 5 feet tall. It's my personality. It's so funny because I went to the gala and I put my crown on, right? And everyone, lady's like, "Were you Miss Asia San Diego?" I was like, "That was a long time ago. I was, but not today, right?" Because I had my crown. I was like, "I was actually at one point when I was younger, not looking like Mama right now." And she started laughing. She goes, "Oh, honey, you still look beautiful." I'm like, "Thank you." And my daughter's like, "Mom, why?" Why the crowd? And then her friend is like, I really love your mom. She just doesn't care what people say, and she just does, like, whatever. And I was like, listen, why not? Why do you guys ask this? Like, why? And I'm like, why not? I feel good about it, and no one's bothered by it. I'm not asking anybody to put it on. If they want to, I would put it on Agape's head if she wanted to. I don't care, right? It's because for me, I'm living life fun, right? I wasn't born a queen nor a princess, but in my head I am. So this is why the crown is here. Okay? Like that's just how I feel. It's what is it to you? I like Sun Tzu. So my quote is two. Opportunity multiply as they are seized. Okay? The second one is to know your enemy, you must become your enemy. That's what he said. He's very good strategist, right? But I really don't want enemy, guys. I just want friends. So I'm just saying the enemy sometimes is not outsider, it's actually you. You are your best enemy. So to know yourself, you must become one with yourself. That's what I want to say. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful, fantastic day. And please pray for my safety and my daughter's safety because we are going to San Francisco tomorrow at 5 in the morning. All right. Bye, guys. See ya.